Guns are collections, so I'm not going to talk about collecting because I think that could be a whole nother discussion. So if we think about collections, I think that's an element that gets overlooked or assumed. So I'm a big fan of collecting things over the years, of having different collections, and I don't hold on to them necessarily. My goal isn't to acquire a collection and necessarily move it right along, but I've definitely had lost interest in things or changed focus on things and changed some collections. I've appreciated having other collections over the long term, I guess. And like I say, collecting and the motivations behind it are probably a whole nother thing. So I'm going to focus on the collections themselves if that's possible. And maybe as a collector, I'm putting too fine a point on it, but I think collections are the sets of firearms that could be defined as a collection. The definition that broad could include so many different sets of firearms. So each person owns some firearms, and that's their collection, let's say, and that's technically accurate. But if in your collection of firearms, you may own some that are practical, some that are investments, some that were speculations, maybe an attempt to try a new sport or to go hunting or to involve yourself in some sort of activity that required that tool. So, competition or occupation or whatever. And some firearms have other reasons for being possessed. So those each have a subset. So let's say you were a firearms owner who carried a firearm occasionally. You have a rifle that you use for hunting once in a while. You take a shotgun to the range to shoot clay pigeons recreationally. And your passion is collecting old cowboy lever action guns, or maybe the lever action guns that a specific actor used or used in a particular series of movies or a television show, or whatever the reasons might be for a subset of a collection like that. That's a smaller set of firearms in your possession that would be considered a collection as well. You can have collections of firearms in a museum. I'm a big fan of the firearms museums, and if you go through, I'm going to pick, for example, the J.M. Davis Museum. It was had the largest private collection of firearms, at least on display and open to the public, and it's still open to the public today in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or just outside Tulsa, Oklahoma. And if you as you walk through the museum, you'll find collections of cowboy guns, collections of Colts, collections of guns from law enforcement. There's different subsets in that collection of smaller collections. So I want to try to focus on that aspect, that collecting is something that's universal. As gatherers, right? We, as mammals and humans, we collect. The accumulation of those collections have significance on lots of different levels, not just historic and not just financial. And that's what I'd like to inspire conversations on. Our goal with this series is to focus on things that aren't required, that aren't fed to us or used as a distraction to keep us from our interest and our growing awareness of how firearms are part of our culture and our community and our history, and in this case, our collections. So collections, looking forward to the comments as they show up on the various platforms we post these on. Till next time, thanks for watching, and of course if you have suggestions for more in this series of what guns are, we're interested to hear those as well.
So let us know what you think. We'll be watching the comments wherever you find the video, over on gunstreamer.com or on guntube.org.
Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com.